is on the air. For the next hour, Steve Russell and ESPN basketball analyst Mark Wise will hit the hard court as they look back on the week that was and look forward to the week that is in college basketball. Hoop, there it is. Courtesy of Silverback Concrete, Titan MRI, and QC Kinetics. It's full court press time. Here are Steve and Mark.
Well, hello, how are you? Welcome to a special edition of Hoop. There it is. I'm Steve Russell. That is Mark Wise. We're here to break down, or Mark is, the Final Four and the championship game between Florida and Houston on Monday night. Mark, first of all, I want to go to Houston-Duke first. Because, again, it was one of those things where late in the game, Duke had, a 95% chance to win the game. Right. Wow. I mean, I don't know if you say they melted down or credit Houston for never quitting. Your take on that?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. I thought Duke, if you're down the way Houston was down late in the game, the other team has to help you out a little bit. And Duke certainly did that, whether you're talking about the technical foul, the dead ball technical foul that happened earlier, the missed shots, the missed free throw, the turnover against the press. I didn't think they were very good against the press, and we can get into that more because that adjustment that Florida made in their game against the press was sensational. So, but back to the Duke Houston game, I didn't realize this until I got to looking at it after the game. Houston scored 8 points in the last 33 seconds of the game. They also scored 8 points in the first 8+ minutes of the game to show you how extraordinary that comeback was. It still boils down to this. We were talking about this game last week, and I said the pathway to beating Duke was at the three-point line and that Houston had to make 10 or more threes. How many did they make? They made 10. So From that standpoint, I think they did the things that they had to do. In the other game, and the other thing that I wanted to mention, Houston controls tempo like no other team I've seen. They play low possession games. The Duke game was a 61 possession game. The national average is 70. And yet Houston in that low possession game took 8 more shots than Duke did. And that doesn't seem like a lot. But if you're already in a low possession game, then the percentage of possessions that you are getting goes up dramatically. And that's because the way Houston hits the offensive glass, they had 18 offensive rebounds. They were +7 in second chance points. So they were able to do that against Duke that I didn't think they would be able to. And credit Houston for just kind of staying the course. And it sounds like another team we've been talking about the last couple of weeks.
You know, when you saw the score of the game, the Florida game, I thought, well, maybe that's at Auburn's wheelhouse a bit. I thought the higher the scoring game would favor Florida. What turned that game around in your view?
Well, I thought there were a couple of things. I wasn't surprised about the slower pace of the game because I thought both coaches have all week. Both coaching staffs have all week to kind of dissect what they already know about a common opponent, a team that they're so familiar with. I thought shots would be harder to come by. So I wasn't surprised that the pace was where it was in that game. I thought the difference in the game was the second half turnovers by Auburn. I thought there were 2 reasons for that. One is I thought fatigue in the front court. And I don't know how healthy Janai Broome was in the game, but he looked fatigued to me. And the other part of that equation, I thought Florida's pressure on the ball got more aggressive, had more energy in the second half. How many deflections, how many loose ball deflections was Florida able to come up with in the second half? I thought that was the biggest difference.
All right, let's do our questions of the week brought to you by Davis Chevrolet, your premier North Central Florida dealer of Chevrolet. And don't forget, our last Hoop There It Is show is going to be on Tuesday this week, or I guess coming week. Not our normal time, but we'll get to that in a minute. But our last one is Tuesday. And you can send your questions to questions@gatorshows.com. All right, Mark, here we go. Joe in Tampa, Florida, Houston on Monday night for the big one. Who wins and why? Well, you're right to it.
Wow. I'm going to say Houston's going to win. No, wait a minute. I'm going to say Florida's going to win. No, well, the line on the game is 1.5. To me, that's a pick 'em. I said I would be shocked in the Florida Auburn game if it wasn't a one possession game with 5 minutes to go. That's exactly what happened. The same thing here. This is going to be a one possession game, in my opinion, with 5 minutes to go. The team that can make shots down the stretch will win.
Okay. Luther in Gainesville. No, we should never blame the officials. It was a very poorly officiated game. Try not to be a homer, but that seemed pretty lopsided. Yes.
The officiating in that game would have had to be better to get to poor. That's as badly officiated Final Four game that I've ever seen. It's a good thing from a national officiating perspective, probably, that Florida won. And I'll get accused of being the Florida guy, blah, blah, blah. But man, did they get a bad whistle in the game. It was a bad, it seemed like that officiating crew let a couple of mistakes mushroom into more mistakes. It was a very poorly officiated game.
I normally don't buy into that, Mark, a lot, but I'm with you in this one, and not because it was Florida. I just thought it was a poorly officiated game.
Yeah, the second game I didn't think was poorly officiated. I just think the foul on flag at the end. I mean, if you're going to let people bang the way that they're letting them bang, and then you call that foul, no.
Right. Yeah, not consistent. I'm with you. Lindsay in Gainesville. Second time ever, all four top seeds made it to the Final Four. Are the days of parity in college basketball gone?
Well, those two things aren't connected, because the only other time all four number one seeds made it was in 2008. So we've had, 17 years in between. Oddly enough, that year was also in San Antonio. Now, is it becoming a trend? We don't have enough data on that yet. My gut tells me yes, it is. But having four number one seeds is quite remarkable. What if we'd had 2 2s and 2 4s? Would we have said that it was all from the power conferences? Will we be saying the same thing? I don't think so.
Heather in Gainesville. Mark, you broadcast most of the 06 and 07 teams' games. What similarities do this year's squads and those have?
That's a really good question. I guess the biggest similarity is their ability to hit the offensive glass, because that team had, the combination of Noah Horford and Brewer, and then you brought in Chris Richard off the bench. So they also had a group of bouncy bigs. This particular Florida team is very similar in that. The backcourts were built completely different. Walter Clayton, in my opinion, they'll give the most outstanding player at the Final Four for the Final Four. But if you were to give a most outstanding player of the NCAA tournament, that race is over. It should be Walter Clayton Jr.
Elizabeth in Gainesville. Bruce Pearl, loved by the media, also a shrewd coach, excellent at the mental game, but doesn't seem honest when it comes to injuries. Has he been like this since day one?
My answer to that would be a long list of coaches and programs that are tight-lipped about their injuries. That's kind of the standard operating procedure, unfortunately.
Do you agree with this? And I think they said it on the national broadcast. Early on, Broom was really effective. He was doing a nice job inside. Now, whether he was hurt, fatigued, but I just thought Florida's bigs wore on him. Do you agree with that?
I do agree with that, but I will tell you this. I think he had more, and I don't think there was a lot of difference from first half to second half watching him come up the floor. He was still trying, I thought, to kind of pace himself in the game. So he spent a lot of energy scoring in the first half. I don't think there's any question about that. So that constant kind of banging on him, they decided not to double. And with that being said, he's going to score. But I thought Florida did a better job of making it longer for him to get to the rim in the second half. Now, whether that's he wasn't as energized or didn't have as fresh a leg, so he wasn't able to battle for the inside position. I just thought in the first half, he caught the ball repeatedly a lot closer to the rim than he did in the second half.
Billy in Tallahassee, betting lines didn't change 3 days before the Final Four. Even Vegas couldn't pick the winner. Were these teams all that close?
I think if you played with this group of programs in the Final Four 4 consecutive weekends, you could very easily have 4 different winners. That's how close they are.
Laura in Gainesville, Patino and Pearl selected as AP Coach of the Year. First tie in voting history. I can see a Pearl Golden tie, but Patino, not sure he's deserving.
He is. I mean, so is Todd Golden. So is 5 other coaches that I could easily mention. Patino, to get St. John's from where they were a year ago to the NCAA tournament, win the Big East tournament. I mean, is a big time coaching job, no question. And Bruce Pearl, same way.
Angela in Jonesville, Martin's Final Four experience paid off for the Gators. Would you say he truly is our team's emotional leader?
Maybe. He's the spark guy, so I think I don't want to play semantics, but I think there's a lot of validity to that. He brings but we've been saying that since November. He brings an aura of toughness about him that I don't think Florida had in the previous 3 or 4 or 5 seasons in the backcourt. I think he's had his greatest influence maybe on Will Richard. Will Richard got some big time rebounds down the stretch of the game yesterday that were key to Florida keeping the lead at the end.
Yeah. Martin's toughness, I think, rubbed off on Richard to make him a tougher player.
I agree with that.
Allison in Gainesville, Final Four tickets selling for $6,000 before the Gator game. Has college basketball now exceeded the NBA brand? Is this driven by NIL?
They have not exceeded the NBA brand. And what was the second part?
Is this driven by NIL?
The cost of the ticket, I guess, is the question. Is the cost of the ticket driven by NIL?
I don't think they relate.
No. The cost of the ticket is based on demand, period.
Yep. JJ, in November of 2011, Billy Donovan became the youngest coach ever to win 400 games. Will Golden, who was 39, reach that record someday?
I don't know his overall coaching record. I don't think he's been a head coach long enough. Under the age of 40, he's not going to reach it by the time he's 40. No.
Finally, Jeff, should the UAA sign Golden to a new contract, pay him what it takes to secure that he stays in Gainesville?
I don't know the workings of this, but I would be willing, Steve, and I'm going to ask you, would you agree with this? I'm willing to bet a lot of my money and your money that Todd Golden will make a lot more money very soon.
I would agree with that. Whose ever money we are talking about. Yes. No doubt about that. All right. Those are our questions of the week. And again, you can send them and we'll have one more show for you on Tuesday. And we look forward to having that. Brought to you by Davis Chevrolet, your premier North Central Florida dealer of Chevrolet. Again, questions at gatorshows.com. Quality Play of the Week brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Needed a quality plumber? Rely on the same company Gainesville's trusted since 1984. Quality Plumbing. Their name says it all. Quality play that you want to talk about, Mark?
Well, I would say the Elijah Martin dunk, but you might ask me in return, well, which one? And I agree completely because they were both sensational. the first one where he was ahead of everybody, I'm watching the game, and my first initial thought was he's jumped too soon. There's no way. He was, I want to say his takeoff foot was maybe a foot and a half in front of the free throw line. That's it. I mean, his extension to get that dunk alone was sensational. And then the other one over the two defenders. If you want to have a little fun, Google or get online and just put Elijah Martin dunks and look at the pictures from the two dunks that we're talking about from yesterday's game. They're breathtaking, even as pictures. And those two dunks, they were breathtaking.
They were. And I can think of a better word. Some guys dunk it. He's an athletic dunker. He really, because he's a former, all that. He's an athletic dunker.
That first one where he extended was like Jordan-esque, because that's the famous Jordan dunk from the free throw line. But that second one, I mean, that was Schwackums. I mean, when you do it in traffic with other people around you, I mean, that was vicious. My goodness, what a dunk that second one was.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. Much more Hoop There It Is to come. Stay with us.
I'm tired of you living in pain, and I want you to get real lasting relief from chronic pain in your knees, back, shoulders, and hips. QC Kinetics can get you moving again with cutting-edge regenerative treatments with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Stop putting it off. Call now and schedule your free consultation. Call QC Kinetics now in Gainesville, Ocala, and the Villages. 352-400-4550. 352-400-4550.
I'm David Steele, voice of the Gators in 1984, when Brian Nasworth began a new journey, opening Quality Plumbing.
And I'm Mick Huber. During my 33 years as voice of the Gators, I called championship games for football, basketball, and baseball. And at the same time, Quality Plumbing became champions for residents and businesses of Gainesville.
I'm Sean Kelly, and now I'm the voice of the Gators as Quality Plumbing celebrates its 40th anniversary. And for years to come, I'll be calling the games, and Quality Plumbing will continue to be the #1 plumbing company for Gator Nation.
CFC 043073.
After you work out, you can feel worn out. Reach for core power and rise to a whole new level of recovery. Protein to build muscle. Electrolytes to help hydrate. The nutrition you need to power on. Champion your recovery with Core Power.
Florida Victorious is a powerful chapter in UF's NIL story.
We are
Florida Victorious.
Gator fans, let's get on board now, okay?
Florida Victorious, proud NIL partner of the Florida Gators.
The State Farm Personal Price Plan helps you create an affordable price just for you.
Contact local agent Roos Ogra for your personal price plan today.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
Over 2 decades, Miapa has been a staple in Alachua County. Start your day right at Miapa, where fast and affordable authentic cuisine awaits.
We're known for serving the best Cuban coffee.
Our secret is in every sip and every bite, bringing the flavor of our culture straight to your palate. Everyone is welcome at Miapa Latin Cafe. Visit us at one of our locations and let us take you on a journey full of flavor. Miapa Latin Cafe, where every bite is a taste of tradition.
Silverback Concrete builds firm foundations for generations. You stand on it. We stand by it. Silverback Concrete. Welcome back to Hoop There It Is. And Mark, we'll do our coach of the week now. And again, we're in the point now of the season when there's only a couple left. But certainly all the coaches that are here, by the way, brought to you by International Diamond Center. Don't settle for a knockoff diamond when you can get the best diamonds at the best prices. For quality, selection, and value, International Diamond Center, the official jeweler of the Florida Gators. Your take on these coaches here?
Well, I mean, I could easily put all four of the coaches. I've told this story before. I was fortunate enough at the age of 24 to be the student assistant, grad assistant, part-time guy, video coordinator, keep going down the list of what they have about 10 guys to do now. There were two of us at Purdue. And we were in the 1980 Final Four at Purdue, and we played in Indianapolis, oddly enough. So by the time I was 24, going on 25, I had already been on the bench in an NIT championship and a Final Four, and I thought I would do this the rest of my life. And I never went back to the NCAA tournament. I did go to the NIT 3 more times at South Florida, but never to the big dance. You just don't know. Kelvin Sampson and Bruce Pearl both talked about it all week long, that they had both been to the Final Four and how special it is. And you just don't know. You don't know. You can have a really good team and not make it to the Final Four. So from that perspective, I'm going to say my coach of the week are the two that are in the finals, and that's Todd Golden and Kelvin Sampson. Kelvin Sampson, one of the 3 best resurrection jobs I've ever seen in my lifetime. Scott Drew at Baylor, Kelvin Sampson at Houston, and Bruce Pearl at Auburn.
Yeah, to use a wrestling term, like he was the Undertaker. I mean, for a while, he was buried. And Greg Popovich helped him very much so.
Went to the pros for a while. Yes.
Yep.
Bruce Pearl had a 3-year show cause. He talked about that this year. So I'm happy for any coach that makes the Final Four. It's such a special occasion. I did get a short opportunity to go to Florida's workout on Tuesday in Gainesville before they left. I just told Todd Golden, just do me a favor and take 10 minutes with your family and just go somewhere and enjoy it. Don't be so consumed about game planning, prepping, blah, 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 that you don't take just a minute and enjoy it. I wish I had that part to do over again.
Team of the Week brought to you by Ruse Ogre State Farm Insurance. State Farm agent Ruse Ogre is your go-to agent in Gainesville, North Central Florida, for the service you deserve at the price you want.
Well, last week we said it was Florida because of the way they beat Texas Tech, being able to survive. So this week, along the same lines, I'm putting the Houston Cougars in that category. Whether or not they were the better team, I don't know. I only know the fact that the scoreboard says that they won. They did the things that I thought they needed to do to win the game. The fact that Duke wasn't able to close it out is, I think, partly on Duke and partly because Houston made the shots. You know, it's one thing to force a turnover. It's another to make a shot. So from that standpoint, from that point of view, the Houston Cougars this week.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We got a lot more to talk about here as the Gators get set to play Houston for the national championship Monday. Stay with us for Hoop There It Is.
Silverback Concrete is a family-led team of heavy concrete specialists that builds commercial structures for contractors who expect unrivaled quality, including the head ball coach's restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. You only have one chance to make a building that holds up to the highest standards through all kinds of weather. Visit silverbackconcrete.co to see why they're the #1 choice in the Southeast. You stand on it, we stand by it. Silverback Concrete's got your back.
At Davis Gainesville Chevy, everything's on sale. For a limited time, brand new 4-wheel drive crew cab Silverados, just $449 a month. That's new Silverados, only $449 a month. New Tahoes, Equinox, Blazers, and Trax, under $20,000. With hundreds of used trucks and SUVs, under $18,000. Give us a call or visit us online at DavisGainesvilleChevrolet.com. We're here for you.
The most important thing I learned from my father was work ethic and integrity. Never veer away from integrity, even if it costs you money.
International Diamond Center owner Keith LeClaire.
The core value for IDC is to protect the customer.
That means offering the largest selection, uncompromising quality, the strongest warranties, and honest guidance from experts who are not paid on commission. International Diamond Center at Celebration Point. Online, shopidc.com.
Crystal Air and Water, we've got a winning offer for you. As you switch off the AC and turn on the heat, why not upgrade to a new system? Take advantage of our amazing financing options. You can get a 12.99 fixed rate for 5, 10, or 15 years, or you can score big with 12 months, same as cash financing. Don't fumble on comfort this season. Crystal Air and Water has you covered. Call them today at 352-333-0460 or visit acpenguin.com.
License number CMC 1249384.
Is your bank dropping the ball, not playing with heart or skill? Then you need to check out the scouting report on Campus USA Credit Union. That's a 5-star recruit if I've ever seen one. Campus has it all, like great rates and products, friendly service, and smart game plans for you and your money. So why not put some star power in your financial life? Visit campuscu.com or any campus service center today.
Honey, can I recruit you to take the garbage out?
Meldon Law has been serving personal injury victims since 1971. In those days, Jeffrey Meldon's presence as an attorney in the music scene dubbed him with the nickname the Hippie Attorney. And although times have changed, two things haven't. Our commitment to bettering our community by helping the injured.
Albert, are you ready to go to the game?
And our love for the Florida Gators.
If you bleed orange and blue, Meldon Law is the firm for you.
At Titan MRI and Imaging, you'll visit the only locally owned and operated MRI imaging center in town. Start feeling better today. It's your choice. TitanMRI.com.
Welcome back to Hoop. There it is. By the way, I want to give a shout out to Zach Rothrock, our producer, for doing this today. Don't forget, Tuesday, 10 a.m., our final Hoop There It Is show of the season. Obviously, we will talk all about the national title game. Sub of the Week brought to you by Miapa Latin Cafe. Discover 11 delicious Cuban sandwiches at Miapa Latin Cafe. 5 locations in Gainesville and Alachua, never far from the best Cuban food north of Miami. What do you got, Mark?
Again, I keep trying to spread this around a little bit, but has there been a better sub than Thomas Howe? He just is giving Florida such production coming off the bench. It's always special, very special, and very rare for a coach to look down their bench and go, hey, you, go get me 15 and 8. Well, that's what Thomas Houck's doing.
Obviously, game to watch. We know what that is. Brought to you by Florida Victorious. Game-changing plays, life-changing impact. Florida Victorious, proud partner of the Florida Gators on and off the court. Maybe this is the place, Mark, since we're talking about this game, to give your thoughts on the matchup.
Well, how about I'll come back to that if you're okay with that.
Sure.
Okay. Game to watch. UCF is in the final of the CBC, the college basketball crown today. They're playing Nebraska. And then, of course, the women's finals are also today. So, I mean, there are some games to watch before you get to Monday night or tomorrow night.
We're going to get into the women's game in a little bit. Baller of the Week brought to you by Crystal Air and Water. Family-owned and operated Crystal Air and Water services, air conditioner, furnaces, boilers, and more for Gainesville, Alachua, and nearby areas. We're not comfortable till you are. Baller of the Week.
Well, it's easy to say Walter Clayton Jr., and so I'm going to say that, but I want to give a shout-out to Janai Broom. We have to say goodbye to him as a collegiate player. Certainly carried himself and has really kind of put Auburn on the map the last 3 years. So a shout out to him. And I also want to give a shout out to Paige Beckers, who's going for a national title today. I know we're going to talk about the women, but to go through the injuries that she has been able to go through, come back and play at such a high level, she is also worthy of Baller of the Week.
All right. Well, more to come here on Hoop. There it is. We will talk about the women's championship game and preview Florida and Houston. Stay with us on Hoop. There it is.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
The most important thing I learned from my father was work ethic and integrity. Never veer away from integrity, even if it costs you money.
International Diamond Center owner Keith LeClaire.
The core value for IDC is to protect the customer.
That means offering the largest selection, uncompromising quality, the strongest warranties, and honest guidance from experts who are not paid on commission. International Diamond Center at Celebration Point. Online, shopidc.com.
David Steele, voice of the Gators in 1984, when Brian Nasworth began a new journey, opening Quality Plumbing.
And I'm Mick Hubert. During my 33 years as voice of the Gators, I called championship games for football, basketball, and baseball. And at the same time, Quality Plumbing became champions for residents and businesses of Gainesville.
I'm Sean Kelly, and now I'm the voice of the Gators as Quality Plumbing celebrates its 40th anniversary. And for years to come, I'll be calling the games, and Quality Plumbing will continue to be the #1 plumbing company for Gator Nation.
CFC 043073.
After you work out, you can feel worn out. Reach for core power and rise to a whole new level of recovery. Protein to build muscle. Electrolytes to help hydrate. The nutrition you need to power on. Champion your recovery with core power.
At Davis Gainesville Chevy, everything's on sale. For a limited time, brand new four-wheel drive crew cab Silverados, just $449 a month. That's new Silverados, only $449 a month. New Tahoes, Equinox, Blazers, and Trax, under $20,000. With hundreds of used trucks and SUVs, under $18,000. Give us a call or visit us online at DavisGainesvilleChevrolet.com. We're here for you.
Over 2 decades, Miapa has been a staple in Alachua County. Start your day right at Miapa, where fast and affordable authentic cuisine awaits.
We're known for serving the best Cuban coffee.
Our secret is in every sip and every bite, bringing the flavor of our culture straight to your palate. Everyone is welcome at Miapa Latin Cafe. Visit us at one of our locations and let us take you on a journey full of flavor. Miapa Latin Cafe, where every bite is a taste of tradition.
If you've got joint pain in your knees, shoulders, hip, or back that won't go away, you need to check out QC Kinetics for long-lasting relief. QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550.
And Silverback Concrete, a family-led team of heavy concrete specialists built from concrete and steel, precision, and grit. Silverback Concrete, we've got your back. Well, Mark, let's now talk the women's championship game. Something Dawn Staley said at first, I didn't agree with, but let me run. When she said, look, I get all the Paige Becker stuff.
Right.
Great player that hasn't won, but she said it's taken away from what my players have done. We're not being talked about as much. Do you see her argument?
No, not at all. You're in the national championship game, run with it. There's no need to go in that direction. I think Dawn Staley and the coaching staff better be focused on Becker, Strong, and Fudd, that combination for UConn. UConn can press you on offense because they're so versatile, can score in different ways. I think South Carolina, I think they have to dominate the glass. Remember, these two played earlier in the year. UConn in February went to Columbia and waxed the Gamecocks. I think if USC can own the glass, they'll be there at the end. It will obviously be a much closer game than the first time around. But I'm thinking that UConn just has a little bit too much offense, and so I'm where I come from. Offense wins, so I'm gonna go with UConn, but it'll be tight at the end.
Yeah, I'm on your street. I do think offense wins. You've converted me. And I think I do think it'll be obviously closer than the last time, but I think UConn wins too. Our women's basketball check-in brought to you by Meldon Law. With 50 years of experience, the only accident law firm partner of the Florida Gators, Meldon Law won't back down. All right, now let's do our core 4 top teams, which we know about. Brought to you by Fairlife Core Power. Discover Core Power protein shakes by Fairlife. Explore our 26G and 42G high protein drinks, perfect for workout recovery and nutrition. We all know the 4. Do you want to go into the Florida-Houston matchup here?
Yeah, that'd be great. One of the beauties of the way that Florida beats you this year is their versatility. They can beat you in a lot of different ways. And it starts with Walter Clayton Jr. So if I'm Kelvin Sampson in Houston, they've got to come up with a better game plan than anybody else has done so far to stop Clayton. His ability to get to the rim, combined with his ability to make uncanny three-point shots, contested three-point shots, it starts there. Florida also does what Houston does. They get on the offensive glass. So whichever team, and I think this may be the key stat of the game, offensive rebounds, because offensive rebounds lead to extra possessions. Why is that so important against Houston? Because Houston plays a low possession game. I think the game against Duke yesterday had 61 possessions. Now think about that. If you get extra possessions, it leads to more shots, but more shots in a limited possession game is a big deal. And yesterday in that game, Houston took 61 shots. Duke only took 53 in a low possession game. And I hate to keep using that term, but in a low possession game, that becomes a big deal. Florida also beats you with their depth. I don't think Houston's quite as deep as Florida, but I don't see Florida's ability to wear Houston out in the second half. I don't see that coming into play. And then lastly, Florida beats you with their three-point shooting. And so that's the 2 areas that I think the three-point shooting differential comes into play in these 2 in the game, because Houston doesn't take as many threes, but they're top 5 in the country in three-point percentage. This is by far Kelvin Sampson's best offensive team. So I'm going to look at three-point differential and offensive rebounding differential.
Offensive rebounding, I'm right with you. Is Houston a good team defending the 3?
Yes, because of their commitment. If you want to be good defensively, you've heard me say this, you've got to have team speed. They've got that. You've got to have the ability to alter shots at different, not just at the rim, but those kind of lengthy closeouts on three-point shooting. They do that. And then you've got to be committed to playing it. And there may not be a more committed team to how they defend, how they play, how they scheme than Houston. We know they're going to, and here will be something that to watch, because if Florida throws the ball inside, which they don't do a lot of, but if they do throw it down there to Condon or Chenyulu, Houston has been a double team. They play out. It's their what they call their monster game. And so they go double team, period. And the 3 other guys, so forget about the 2 on the ball double teaming, the 3 other guys are sensational in covering the rest of the floor. And that's the reason why they're committed to it. However, if you're going to play Florida and they throw it in there and you double, man, you better get the shooters quickly, because Clayton, Martin, Richard can all make you pay.
Well, we're going to get final predictions on the game Monday night. That's coming up next. Stay with us as we wrap up Hoop There It Is.
Crystal Air and Water, we've got a winning offer for you. As you switch off the AC and turn on the heat, why not upgrade to a new system? Take advantage of our amazing financing options. You can get a 12.99 fixed rate for 5, 10, or 15 years, or you can score big with 12 months, same as cash financing. Don't fumble on comfort this season. Crystal Air and Water has you covered. Call them today at 352-333-0460 or visit acpenguin.com.
License number CMC 1249384.
The State Farm Personal Price Plan helps you create an affordable price just for you.
Contact local agent Roos Ogra for your personal price plan today.
Meldon Law has been serving personal injury victims since 1971. In those days, Jeffrey Meldon's presence as an attorney in the music scene dubbed him with the nickname the hippie attorney. And although times have changed, two things haven't: our commitment to bettering our community by helping the injured,
Albert, are you ready to go to the game?
and our love for the Florida Gators.
If you bleed orange and blue, Meldon Law is the firm for you.
Is your bank dropping the ball, not playing with heart or skill? Then you need to check out the scouting report on Campus USA Credit Union. That's a 5-star recruit if I've ever seen one. Campus has it all, like great rates and products, friendly service, and smart game plans for you and your money. So why not put some star power in your financial life? Visit campuscu.com or any campus service center today.
Honey, can I recruit you to take the garbage out?
Silverback Concrete is a family-led team of heavy concrete specialists that builds commercial structures for contractors who expect unrivaled quality, including the head ball coach's restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. You only have one chance to make a building that holds up to the highest standards through all kinds of weather. Visit silverbackconcrete.co to see why they're the #1 choice in the Southeast. You stand on it, we stand by it. Silverback Concrete's got your back.
I'm tired of you living in pain, and I want you to get real lasting relief from chronic pain in your knees, back, shoulders, and hips. QC Kinetics can get you moving again with cutting-edge regenerative treatments with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Stop putting it off. Call now and schedule your free consultation. Call QC Kinetics now in Gainesville, Ocala, and the Villages. 352-400-4550. 352-400-4550.
Florida Victorious is a powerful chapter in UF's NIL story.
We are
Florida Victorious.
Gator fans, let's get on board now, okay?
Florida Victorious, proud NIL partner of the Florida Gators.
At Titan MRI and Imaging, you'll visit the only locally owned and operated MRI imaging center in town. Start feeling better today. It's your choice. TitanMRI.com.
All right. It's come to the time when I know a lot of people want to know what Mark Wise thinks
Oh
in
my
terms of
gosh.
what's going to happen on Monday night. I thought Duke would win, and I thought, I think most people thought, gee, Duke's got this one in the bag. Well, credit Houston for coming back. So what do you see for Monday night?
I see differentials, and I think the team that can do the better job on the offensive glass, the team that can win the 3-point differential, those two items stick out to me. If Florida, I'll give one stat for both teams.
Okay.
Houston had 18 offensive rebounds against Duke. If they have that many against Florida, Houston will win. Florida had 16 turnovers in the game against Auburn. If they have that many, they will not win tomorrow night. So the Duke Houston game was a clean game. I think Duke only had 7 turnovers in the game, but man, did one come at the wrong time. So I fully expect, and I'm not trying to split hairs here, I think this game will be tied with a minute to go. Somebody will have last possession. Ball will be in the air. If it goes in, your team will win. That's what I think. I think we're going to have a photo finish at the buzzer.
And you just made Gator fans nervous as anything with that. But because, man, they've been sweating that out.
Yeah, if you're asking me to pick a winner, I can't say, well, I definitely think Florida's going to win, or I definitely think Houston's going to win. I see the path for both to win in different ways.
Okay. That is our special edition of Hoop There It Is for today. Don't forget, join us 10 a.m. on Tuesday. We'll go over the final game, all of that, and we'll wrap up our Hoop There It Is for the basketball season. Thanks to you for tuning in. Thanks to Zach Rothrock for producing. And thanks to Mark for coming on today and a special time to do this, Talking Hoops. For Mark Wise, I'm Steve Russell. See you later. Okay. Yep.
And 98.1 FM, 850 AM, WRUF, the home of the Florida Gators.